Good morning to you. Happy Father's Day to all you great fathers out there, and happy Father's Day to all the United States military fathers, and also to all you great police officers. It's just so sad that this is what the Democrats has led us to. But before I get into this conversation, let's go into our Father's prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespass as we forgive those who have trespassed against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy you are the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. To God be the glory. To God be the glory. On this Sunday of June 15th of 2025, you know, for the last, I would say, 2 weeks, it's been almost 2 weeks because everything might shimmer down. I'm not sure if everything is going to shimmer down, but I want to keep our president encouraged. Now I see the truth because a lot of black people were afraid of the martial law, and we sat back, the militia law. Okay, we sat back. Well, those of us who have common sense and those of us who were smart didn't participate too much into this stuff about this protest against Trump and ICE and all of this other stuff that's taking place. And because sometimes it's good to just sit back and watch things from a distance and see what it's leading up to, and you can hear more, you can see more, and you'll be more informed how things are leading into something that is so unlawful. I understand people want to stay here because they feel they citizens, they stayed here, they naturalized, whatever their status may be, whatever their reasons may be. I don't know. I've been an American citizen all my life. Okay, I have been in America, born in America, and so on and so on. So this had really nothing to do with me as a illegal. Okay. So I didn't have to go out there to protest, and I know I was not going to go out there and help the illegals in this country because I'm fighting for, as an American citizen, I voted for this because I want my job. Okay. I want to be able to have health care on my job and also a payable, livable income. I'm not going to work in no slave factory jobs or whatever like that. No, I have the minimum of education, even higher education, to be able to be employed and get a livable salary with benefits. Okay, so I'm not going out there to give my job to the illegals. Okay, that's not going to happen. And I'm sorry that Trump had to come to that hotels and food places that these migrants are working at, these immigrants are working at, that are here. They've been with the company for a long time or whatever, and he's afraid to send them back because they really got comfortable here, whatever, whatever. But we're going to talk about that some other time. Well, until more information is given about that, then we could talk about that as an American people. A reason why millions of thousands and thousands of y'all was out there doing whatever y'all was doing because y'all just not informed. Okay, you are not informed people. You want to be unlawful. You want to break the rules. You want to break the laws. You want to throw police things at the police officers as they doing their jobs, and so you want to do all of this protesting against ICE or whatever it is. But there are people living right here in the United States that are terrorists. Okay, and the thing is that you are actually buying into whatever they're feeding you. They're giving you money and you out there doing it and don't even know what you're doing to yourselves. Thank God for those of us who did not take participation in this foolishness. Okay, so I want to feel safe in my city, in my home. I want to feel safe. I want my loved ones to be safe out there as well. You see, I want to live by the rules. I want to live by the law so I can have peace. Peace. in my life, around my family, and I also want to live a good life. You see what I'm saying? I don't want to live around all this chaos. I don't want to live around all of this danger around among me with criminals and everything on our subway systems, burning people, subway systems, and being robbed in parks when you in the park or whatever. These thugs or these criminals or these gangbangers or whatever the hell they are, come stepping up on me and robbing me, or even doing harmful things to your daughters or to your mothers or to your sisters or to your aunties or to your grandparents, whatever. Okay? Raping them and murdering them. I just watched the whole documentary over this weekend about this prison called Sikot. And I gave you the videos and everything. You could go and watch them for yourself. Look them up. It's in El Salvador, where it was just out of control in Salvador with these vicious, notorious gangbangers. They just took over the government. Okay, meaning that the people were living in fear. No matter what money people make, people that came from those countries to come to America, they can tell you better than I can tell you because they lived through the experience, and that's why some of them are so traumatized. Some of them are afraid to go back to their land. I get it. I really, truly get it, and I believe Trump gets it too. But the people that are leading you into this chaos, into this foolishness, into this crime, and being unlawful, you are going to repeat the same things that you came from your country. There's a way to go to Congress and have this conversation about your citizenship and how to get the help you need where they can, actually get you a good immigration attorney or whatever to help you with whatever legal problems you may have with getting your citizenship. There's no reason for you to be out there throwing garbage cans, throwing water, ice bottles, supporting this kind of way of doing things, like being a part of this way of doing things. And those Latinos or whoever that voted for Trump, you did it the right thing. And I'm pretty sure things will work in your favor. It's even if you didn't flip over to the Democrat side of what they showing you and telling you and blaming Trump for all of this. Sometimes Trump has no other choice. He let the people decide, okay? And this is the decision that you have made as people that don't want to follow the law, don't want to do what's right, don't want to respect the law. So these people marched you right into what I'm saying here in this video is that they have no other choice but to bring because there was so many of y'all out there and there was very little police to be out there to protect the lives of the innocent citizens that was out there. People couldn't even want to go to this beautiful, the 250th birthday celebration. They want to say, oh, well, it was Trump's birthday. I don't care. It was beautiful. Whether it was his birthday, giving it to you, your country, giving you your history of America and what these people put their life out to do for you every day. Every day. What the military does every day for America to protect this beautiful soil and this country that you live in. But you want to live like animals. You want to follow these ideology with the Democrats. You want to be gaslighted by these Democrats. You want to be, actually ignorant and foolish. I thought that was a beautiful gift to America from Trump on his day of his birthday to celebrate with you. And you rather be at some riot and some protest, some liberal protest with with things where people just want to do what they want to do, break laws and hurt other people's lives and businesses or whatever. And I had to watch it from my television show. It would have been even a much more beautiful thing that I could have actually been there in to see, to be there for that beautiful experience and that history of this country, of what our military served to do, and to hear all about the wars we went through to protect America and to make this country so great. But you want to listen to these people with the No King's Day. Donald Trump never said he was a king. The only king I serve, there is a king, and his name is Christ, King Jesus. And when I'm serving him, that day is every day. And that's about righteousness and being lawful and following the laws. So you go ahead with your no King's Day, because every day is King's Day for me. I serve Christ. He's the ambassador of all. He's the chief and commander of my life. He's even over Trump's head and everybody else. And I thought that was a beautiful thing. And for America to act the way they did, this is what they asked for. You want the militia to control the police to be funded to control this kind of problem we have in our sanctuary cities, all in America right now. And not only just in America, how it's starting to be in some of the red states. The population of America has voted for Trump in office. Don't let these foolish, stupid Democrats fool you because they want to gain power. They don't care nothing about your lives and your safety of this country with these terrorists living in your communities and taking over. But you too stupid to understand that. Okay, but I'm going to let this video play and let this video I am watching by Cash Jordan. Oh, he brings some great videos about all this stuff that's taking place. I don't know how Cash be doing it, but he be getting around it. He be getting some good footage. Okay. Thank you, Cash. I'm using your video to show these people here on my platform. Thank you all for coming in. But I want y'all to listen to this. I want y'all to see this. Because I want peace. I don't want to hear a story about somebody in my family being attacked by one of these terrorists in the street, these gangbangers, and these people who came and over our borders illegally and smuggling people into this country illegally, and the drugs that are killing people, the fentanyl that is just out of control. And if you don't want, to live as good citizens and don't want nothing good for yourself, this is what we're going to have to do. Just like the thing I showed you about that prison called Decot with those crazy gangbangers and everything, and what they did, and now they're paying for it, and they just live it as ghosts, erased from society. Not even a tombstone. There's their name on their tombstone. They destroyed it because these people did some horrendous. Like I said, the people that can tell you about it, maybe you need to find one of the immigrants that are here from El Salvador. They can give you their story, their history of their country and what has happened to them in their country and why they had to come to America as citizens and why America do accept people that's coming here for refugee. And they give them citizenship. But then there's some here that don't belong here, and they making it bad for you. And you're out there protesting and fighting for them and flooding up the cities and the streets and holding up traffic and doing the things that you're doing to destroy these people's happiness and freedom here in the United States. Because I'm sure a lot of them, the illegals, or not, I wouldn't even call them illegals, I'll say the immigrants that came here from these places, don't want this to happen. Don't want to be a part of this. And they getting caught up in the mess of it. Don't be mad at Trump. Be mad at yourselves and the people that's out there that is doing this stuff to you. Here we go.
Last night, they were taken into custody after breaching barriers that were set up by the NYPD to keep them on the sidewalks and to prevent them from...
So as the protests in LA get national media attention, activists here in New York are just getting started. And they're now flooding the streets of America's largest sanctuary city, overwhelming police on a nightly basis. However, the mayor of New York has said he will not tolerate violent activism or attacks on law enforcement. But to agitators here, that sounds more like a challenge than a threat.
This was the chaos that erupted last night. 86 arrests. Federal agents overnight deploying tear gas into a crowd. The NYPD says it had the situation under control.
Demonstrators were armed with signs, face coverings, and flags. Some were led away to NYPD buses in zip ties, while others were wrestled to the ground by cops dressed in riot gear.
We are not afraid, and we will not be bullied. And you can't lock us all up.
And on top of that, which is even more disgraceful and disgusting, top
NYPD officials are playing golf with Donald Trump.
At times, protesters were clashing with police, but during the day, those protests were mostly peaceful. Police called a level 3 mobilization at some point after 9 p.m., and the protests broke up after midnight, and we're told most of those protesters will be processed and released.
And while last night's rally appeared to be larger than other recent protests, New York hasn't seen the same level of chaos as Los Angeles, at least not yet.
How is this a peaceful protest if there's enough?
Good morning to you, my darlings, all of you that's in the chat. Thank you for coming in. Please, could you hit the like button as you enter into this video and as you enter into what this is all about. Okay?
So these protests, they are starting to overwhelm the city and our police, but what nobody's talking about is that this radical, not-so-peaceful activism, although it gets on the news and goes viral, how does this legitimize the idea of illegal immigration? Looting, rioting, attacking police, these are not things...
You see how he's saying it? How is this going to legitimize anything? This is time now for the Trump administration to turn up and get stronger and harder on law and order. Because this is what y'all asked for, acting like animals like this. This supposed to have been peaceful protests. You can all share your views and your voice and everything, but attacking the police and attacking the city like that, and the police is defunded and they can't really help every citizen in that city that's not a part of this because they so tied up with this mess out in the streets and out in the cities. And so many of you, like, you so proud that it was so many of you out there marching, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Enjoy and bask in your fun right now because you're going to feel the repercussions of it.
Law-abiding Americans think are okay, and now those things are directly associated with people breaking our immigration laws. But here's the thing, New York isn't law-abiding. It's the country's largest sanctuary city, and everyone here protesting only has their eye on defeating public enemy number one, which is why protesters recently stormed Trump Tower again. And what's crazy is we're at a major impasse in American society. The views of these rioters might be popular in LA and here.
I meant to say laugh now, but you will be crying later.
But not anywhere else, which has created a huge catch-22 for those running sanctuary cities. For example, in New York, all of our leading mayoral candidates are refusing to condemn the protesters or call for peace in our streets. And their platform for getting elected just involves standing up to President Trump, whatever that means. But that brings us to the real reason why these protests are happening in progressive cities. These are the only places left in America where you've got this critical mass of lawlessness. And if you want to see a map of where the next riots or protests will probably happen, here you go. But that's the thing, most of the country is red right now, and the law-abiding for years have silently suffered under the attacks of agitators. And to most of America,
and let me tell you, just because y'all felt so big and large out there in the crowd, the law-abiding citizens did the smart thing. They stayed away from it. They stayed away from it. Okay? So y'all that was out there participating in it are going to feel the repercussions.
President who's willing to deploy troops and send Marines to quell domestic uprisings will be hailed as a hero for standing up to the mob. But as you're about to see, the mob is already in the process of taking over New York City, and it's not exactly being peaceful about it.
I asked for war.
There's a lot of barriers out here, and that's because we're at ground zero for all of this recent protest activity, which is now happening on a regular basis here in New York. We're by the federal building where there's an ICE office and an immigration court, and this is the area violent activists immediately received proof they can do whatever they want here. Because although police have arrested a massive number of people, most of those arrested just get tickets and then get released, which will surely stop them from coming back, right?
Yeah, so that was the scene in Lower Manhattan last night when protesters clashed with police after jumping over metal barricades, and as I said, they interrupted traffic. Demonstrators were armed with signs, face coverings, and flags. Some were led away to NYPD buses in zip ties, while others were wrestled to the ground. And
so let's get one thing straight. The people here that are doing this, they're watching what they see on the television, and their goal is to make the same thing happen here that's happening.
And right now, I feel the same way about any even if one of my family members that was out there. Whatever you get, you called it for yourself because you were warned. You were given the warning not to take participate because you are not an immigrant, okay? Especially when you were born here in the United States. Don't let these lefties tell you that devil lie that just because they're going to be deporting the Mexicans and they're going to be deporting this, bringing this stuff on racial stuff. They're not deporting you as a citizen. They said, but those were the people that were being deported. These are criminals, okay, part of these gangs. Even if they were born in the United States of America and their parents were immigrants, they are part of these terrorist groups. They joined these gangs and became members of these gangs from being in prison, and they got with the MS-13s or the MS-18s or or whatever gangs there were that they met in prison that they became a family of. Okay? So they down that pathway. Okay? And the thing is that they're going to become ghosts to you. You ain't going to know where they are. Like these people getting on here telling you these lies about, oh, my family member was picked up and they citizens and they were born here or whatever. But guess what? Where were they living their life in prison? And they got along with some of these, they became, for their safety or whatever, they became a member of the MS-13s and the 18s or whatever. It's not about racial. And it's not about they going to be just taking black people and putting them on some plane or whatever, unless they've been involved with some kind of criminal activity with some kind of terrorist group. Then they got to worry. Okay. But if you ain't a part of none of that, you ain't got nothing to worry about. That's why I was not even going for the bullshit. Okay. Excuse my language on this Sunday. God forgive me. I didn't mean to use that type of, you know, way to express. I am not a liberal. Okay, Trump ain't trying to destroy no democracy. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. By the way I saw the behavior of the people out there, oh, I don't believe that at all now. They destroyed their own democracy. They destroyed their own. Okay, I'm clueless then. Let me be clueless.
Los Angeles. And it's worth mentioning that every violent protest always starts off as peaceful, because there's always a moment of peace when the agitators line themselves up before causing chaos. On top of that, New York, just like California, has a rather lax justice system. Most of the stuff that would get you thrown in jail, like robbery or assault, here doesn't. And this no consequences environment has emboldened protesters who think they can do pretty much whatever they want. And even though our police are out in force and made 86 arrests, 34 of those individuals were detained overnight, then released, and the other 52 were just given tickets for disorderly conduct. And even though New York's finest are among the best police in the entire country, this just gives the protesters their battling practice, interacting with police, getting arrested, which is only going to help them remain on the streets and out of the back of these police cars. But look at how this whole peaceful narrative keeps getting pushed in relation to these protests.
Protesters were clashing with police, but during the day, those protests were mostly peaceful. Let's take a look at some of the video we have from last night. Police called a level 3 mobilization at some point after 9 p.m. And the protest broke up after midnight, and we're told most of those protesters will be processed and released. Like you mentioned, we know approximately 8.
So during the day, there was peace, but not at night, probably because criminals love the cover of darkness. But here's the other thing. If you spend all day listening to speech after speech of people who just rile you up, eventually it's going to be too much. There's only so much hate a person can endure and believe before they decide to act out on it in an attempt to save a world they think is collapsing. And
Like I said, I'm not an immigrant. I don't have no fight in that. I'm not an immigrant, okay? I am not an illegal immigrant. I am a American citizen. I've been an American citizen all my life. That is not my fight. So I am not even going to go into all of that, okay? I don't know what they might have had in the other country that the police was able, because the police ain't going to just come get you. If Even if you didn't commit a crime here in the United States of America, trust me, immigration is dealing with immigration over there in their country. So you go somewhere with that, because that's what happens. Sometimes you don't have them as a criminal here in the United States. That's why they being investigated. They being investigated because they did not go through it the way they were supposed to go through it. When they came here to get their citizenship, they might have had committed a crime in their own country. They may not have been a criminal here in the United States, and they've been living in the United States for a long time. So I'm not going to go there with that. Just because they didn't maybe commit some kind of crime here in the United States of America, they might have committed a crime over in whatever country they came from, like El Salvador or in Mexico or whatever. Remember, Biden and Harris administration allowed the borders to be open for all these illegals to sneak into the United States of America, and some people smuggled them in. And they were able to get fake IDs, fake social securities, and all of that other stuff. And they were found out in the other country. That's why it's important when you do that, you get your legal work done here and go back to your country and get it done in your country as well. The immigration in your country as well. So you can get, that's why it's a process. With all these people now, it's millions of them living here in the city of New York, in the United States, that are illegal. That are illegal. And if you're an American, you need to stay out of it, because it ain't got nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with you. As an American citizen. If you're an American citizen, this ain't got nothing to do with you. Why you going to sell your country out for these criminals to come into your country and take over? You go right ahead.
These activists think that by attacking an ICE facility, they're somehow on the right side of history. And they think if they stay silent, America will morph into the Soviet Union, even though most of the protesters are associated with these socialist causes. But the fact of the matter is these protests cannot and will not stay peaceful, because the people involved in them truly believe that by enforcing immigration law, the president of our country is going to destroy it somehow.
This is about as big of a crowd marching as I've seen in the city in quite some time. They're leaving Police Square now, making their way west through Tribeca. Police basically out of sight, allowing this constitutionally protected and peaceful march.
Wow, isn't it wonderful? A massive group of people marching down the street, about to boil
Well, you go
over.
ahead.
No police in.
You go ahead and believe that I don't know their situation. I said I don't know their situation. Only thing I know is that me living in the United States of America as a citizen of the United States, they know everything about me from the day I was born. Okay? From the day I was born, my social security number has been with me from the day I was born here in the United States. They know everything about my life, my family, and everything, who I'm related to, who I know, whatever. When you put that social security number in the system, these people here, you don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. Some of them are living under some fake social security numbers. That's what the whole project of Doge was all about. Department of Government Efficiency. But you out there following something you don't even know. Just because they've been here for a long time, you don't know what kind of crimes they committed back in their country. You don't know. That is government work that you messing with. They know. Because they are in touch with these people. Doing they citizenship, checking on them, seeing what kind of background they have in their country, what kind of crimes they might have been committed to or connected to. You don't know that. That's over there, not here.
Right, that'll teach them to behave themselves. Some of these folks are just waiting for the right moment to make their move. And what you're going to see happening is the same agitators getting arrested and released and arrested and released over and over again. And as that happens, they'll just bring more.
I didn't say they committed a crime. I said I don't know, but for the government to come for them and to send them back, for the ICE to come, the immigration crime investigation or whatever to come for them, enforcement to come for them. They know. They doing their job. They are doing their job. They have to check out who these people are in the United States of America, who these criminals are in the United States of America, and they have to go over there to their country as well. And I just saw the documentary. I just told you all of that. The secretary of the ICE and everything, she was over there seeing that prison over there because they got this guy now that's over here and everything. You don't know who they are. Four just escaped out of the detention center right there in where they was holding them in the ICE detention center out there in New Jersey. You don't know these people. Well, you go ahead and keep staying in darkness. I'm going to continue to be in the light. That has nothing to do with me. I don't know them. I don't know their culture over there. I've never been over there or anything of that nature, but I've been knowing what I've been watching and what I've been researching here on YouTube. And I'm bringing it here to inform people about it. So you do what you want to do, but I'm not taking no participation in it. Okay? They just not going to come and get you if they didn't see you commit any crimes or whatever. If you illegal here, the best thing for you to do is not to be even part of that protest, but they're going to find out who you are. And even if they do come for you, people have done things in their own countries and came over here and saying that they was given some temporary status. Yes, they were. Until the investigation went on. They was given a temporary status here if they were working or whatever, until they had to go through the investigation. And sometimes that process can take a number of years. But when they do find out who you are, you got to go back. You got to go back into their custody. That goes for anybody in immigration. That even goes for American citizens. If I go to their country and I committed a crime in the United States of America, I can be expedited back to the United States. In the United States was even giving them a chance to even give them the money to go back. The plane ticket to go back.
People to their cause because no consequence actually happens. Showing up at one of these things, damaging property, or attacking the police won't result in anyone's loss of freedom because here these types of offenses have been decriminalized. None of this is actually wrong as far as our laws are concerned. I'm sorry, but tickets and fines.
I'm not saying there may not have been no mistakes. But what I'm saying is that at least try to fight to get it right. But I have no right to fight with them because I don't know them. I have never been in their country. I have never lived in their country. I'm not from their country. I am from the United States of America. So I'm a citizen here, not over there. So whatever's going on with them is something that's going on with them. There's none of my business. Only thing I'm concerned about is what's taking place here on the United States soil. That's it. We, the people of the United States of America, and I am a part of the United States of America because I am the people of the United States of America. Thank you very much. Not we, the people of the United States of over the world in immigration. Yes, people could come here and visit with us, and even if they want to naturalize here as citizens, they can do that. But they got to go through they got to go through the process to do that. That's in not only the United States of America, that's everywhere in the world, boo-boo. Even in Russia, you got a temporary status there for whatever visa, for school, for your work, for your job or whatever like that. Yes. And once that job now is no longer in existence, it's time to move back to your country. I had a lady that worked in the school where she was a nurse at our school. And when school was out during the summer, guess where she was? In her country. That's doing it the right way as well. You can work in the United States, but at some point, there are a lot of immigrants that do it. You need to talk to some of them. Some of them, they only have work status here. And they got to go through the process. Just like anybody else. They work here, but during certain times of the season, they become seasonal workers. They got to go back to their country. Y'all don't get it. During certain times of the season, they work here in the United States of America. And I don't know what they under as far as when it comes to the taxes and everything, the tax laws. Because I'm not an accountant in taxes. I don't have a CPA and none of that. I don't know nothing about that. But I'm just saying, she worked all throughout the school year here in the United States of America. And in certain times, like during the summer months, those 2 months or those 3 months, 2 months when school was out, she's back in her country. She got a home in her country.
Do not keep radical agitators out of the back of police cars. But wait till you hear how local leaders here are just making everything worse.
We are not afraid, and we will not be bullied, and you can't lock us all up.
If she got a government job in the United States of America and everything, her status is clear. Okay? So basically, by her giving you this radical speech or whatever she's doing, she's not doing it for you. She just out there just, hey, she's not doing it the right way. Point blank. She should be more educating you instead of being radical.
Yeah, that is not a message of peace. Telling the people listening to you that there are more of us than there are of them and they can't put us all in jail and we're going to fight. That's not a peaceful message. No, it's not. Because if people are peaceful, they won't need to go to jail. Literally 0 people are getting arrested for peacefully protesting. The people in jail are violent, dangerous, causing chaos. And we're looking at the makings of a movement that our local laws are powerless to stop. Because as we've been learning, even if the protesters get locked up, they'll get released and they can come back to the scene of the crime right here by the ICE building. But as you're about to see, unlike Los Angeles, where the mayor and the governor have taken the side of the protesters, here rabble-rousers have another enemy besides President Trump.
The public advocate blasting Mayor Adams, calling him a Trump wannabe.
Mayor Eric Adams is nowhere to be found in a city full of immigrants. And on top of that, which is even more disgraceful and disgusting, top NYPD officials are playing golf with Donald Trump while people are being arrested.
So it's not just that the mayor of New York has said he's not going to tolerate lawless, aggressive protests. The entire NYPD is now on the bad side of these activists because 2 of their members would go and play golf with the president. Never mind, golf itself isn't a very progressive activity. Here they are, hanging out with the enemy and smiling about it. How terrible. But let's be real, it's not like these protesters were pro-law enforcement and didn't want to keep defunding the police before this happened. They're just looking for an excuse. And the problem is, even though we've got some of the best police in the whole country, they're going to have a Los Angeles-style situation on their hands pretty soon if they don't already. Even though, as you're about to see, this situation may already be much bigger than anyone here understands.
I'm a member. Oh, great. Okay. So it's basically.
Morning.
This over here is the entrance to the federal building protesters wish they could smash their way into and liberate people from. But the NYPD, our leaders are telling us they've got all the tools they need to handle this. After all, we've got a police force of 30,000 officers, the largest in the country. However, anyone who's been following the news here knows that that police force is too small for this city's over 8 million residents. And we've got so few cops that when we pull them off the streets and send them into the subway to stop crime down there, crime comes back with a vengeance above ground while continuing on our dilapidated public transit system. And since we've already got out of control crime here that we can't seem to stop, if protests happen on top of that, it might be too much.
The New York City Police Department, we are expert in policing protests. We have lots of practice at it, and our cops are the best of the world. It is our responsibility to maintain safety and order on our streets, and we will not abdicate that responsibility.
You gotta love how on the screen they're showing a massive number of people blocking roads and causing chaos, the same people who just a few hours from whenever that was shot would then go on to riot and attack officers. Now look, the NYPD, our officers, they are very well trained. Do they deal with radical activists all the time? Yes, absolutely, but that's not the point. The point is, we don't have enough police to keep everybody safe at once, and if massive protests happen, any officers that show up to deal with those protests will have to come from somewhere else, which is exactly what happened last summer when the Tren de Aragua gang from Venezuela had their minions robbing people in Central Park. We sent all of our cops there to secure the place. And after we sent the cops into Central Park to secure it, look at this. Crime skyrocketed in all the areas around the park where there weren't any police. Which means this is not about how well the police are trained. Nobody's debating that. The problem is if you don't have enough of them and problems happen, you're going to have more problems.
We have a special unit called our Strategic Response Group, and what this unit of several hundred cops does is police and
Thank you,
work
Josh.
with protesters. And so they are really
Don't get yourself all worked up with these liberals and these people that just not informed people. You know, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. Okay? They just don't get it. I didn't vote for this. I didn't vote to have protesting or riots in the street of New York to overthrow the president. I didn't vote for that. So I ain't worrying about that. Okay? All I'm just going to do is inform the people in this video and let people know what's going to happen and what's going to take place, because this is what they asked for. No matter what they say right now, it's for the safety of the American people. Point blank, period. They're going to say Americans going to get caught up in it. If you're not out there doing none of that stuff, it ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you do go in, then you're going to be part of it too. You're going to get wrapped up and go right on with them to their country because that's what you wanted. You want to go out there and fight for illegals, then go ahead and fight for illegals, because I'm going to stand here and do the right thing and mind my business and stay out of it. But I'm just going to show you this video so I can inform you.
expert in it generally will have a heads up about
This is all true, but it's all in the context of an understaffed police force who's already got its hands full with more crime than it knows what to do with. And that's not an opinion. Everybody knows the NYPD has a major staffing problem. Cops are leaving the force. They're being forced to do more with less. Just look around. The evidence of a short-staffed police force is everywhere. We are not living in a safe utopia that doesn't have any problems, that's for sure. Crime here's already going through the roof, and everybody's aware of it. Stack protests on top of this. What do you think is going to happen to this place? Oh, and remember, every single person that gets arrested at these protests, they're going to get back out. They're going to come back, and they're just going to be angry that their time was wasted in the back of a police car. And the scary thing about this idea of riots in New York is that the deck is totally stacked against our police, and everyone knows it deep.
Thank you, Jim. Sensible people, people with sense, and have common sense are sitting this one out. Okay? I'm not letting the Democrats gaslight me or with they lefty liberal ideas and all this other stuff that they saying. I already know. Black people, we already know what we've been through in America. We know we ain't got nowhere, no home other than America. So we citizens of America. We are America and product of America. We are a product of America. I'm going to say a product of America. So I ain't got nothing to do. They want them immigrants here to work for them for cheap slave wages, which African Americans are not going to do. Or I ain't going to say African, or foundational black Americans are not going to do. Okay, because we want our reparations, because we was here building our lives. And guess what? If you find out about the American history, black Americans, that's who we were. We were Republicans. They was the ones who actually helped us be free as slaves. Thank you very much. And the Democrats, of course, they were the terrorists. They were the ones who would take the slaves and hang them. And they even killed some Republicans as well. Do your American history on Ulysses Grant. Okay? Do your American history. That's why it was so important to be there for the military 250th birthday. What President Trump was trying to educate some of you Americans about when you was out there protesting and rioting and doing what you doing. Okay? But y'all want to stay out there in chaos while I was getting informed and getting my American history. Hello. So y'all did a disservice to yourself, not to President Trump. It probably hurt him in a way, but You didn't do a disservice to President Trump because he's going to be okay.
Down.
Our responsibility is to maintain safety and order on our streets. We will not tolerate people blocking streets, people blocking entrances to buildings, people blocking cars, chaos, violence, or disorder, and we will stamp that out when it appears.
I hope they can find a way to do that, but so far they haven't. Every single person they arrest is back out there. These people are all free to come back and do it again. But
We black Americans are so, you know what I'm saying? They can't do us like that. Because, see, the thing is that when they bring these immigrants in to take your jobs, pay them less money, and put you out of work, okay? Put you out of a job. And take your benefits from you. Okay, all that you work for in America, you want to give it to the immigrants. That's what you want to do. That's not what I want to do. I want my job. I want my health benefits and everything else that comes along with it. Okay, as a citizen of the United States of America, for American citizens first. Okay? So, you go ahead. You go ahead and say this is tyranny. And that's exactly what these lefties don't mess you up with. Telling you that this is Trump's trying to, be a dictator or whatever like that. He was allowing you to exercise your rights. But when we voted for him, and the American people voted for him, and the American people, he won through the American people, we didn't want this. We didn't want the criminals in our country. We wanted to fix the immigration, the borders and everything else like that. So you go right ahead and believe that stuff if you want to. That President Trump is the fault of all of this. Look at who's funding these. Do your research on who funded these protesters. Let's finish this video and I'm going to get out of here.
let's be real, the chief of police of a sanctuary city cannot go on mainstream news and say the police are finished and need help from President Trump. Oh no. But on top of that, everyone running New York right now, and whoever will be our future mayor in just a few months, has the same view of all this as the governor of California. They think this is all President Trump's fault. They think he's instigated it. And these people all support the protesters who they want to vote for them, except for our current mayor, who probably won't be reelected.
President Trump is going to do what suits President Trump. President Trump has already made a deal with this mayor that we know very well. The mayor is going to be cooperative with ICE. They are going to do things that are illegal and unconstitutional.
Zohran Mamdani says he's going to be ready to deal with Trump if he gets elected mayor.
What we deserve in this moment is a mayor who can look that authoritarianism in the eye and not see a reflection of himself.
Yeah, I hate to say this. New York is a blue state. Whoever wins this Democrat primary for mayor, especially in this progressive city, they're going to be the next mayor. And none of these people have a platform that is anything other than resisting President Trump. That's what they're running on. How are these people going to get elected and then stand up to the protesters? They won't do that. They're going to be out there with the protesters. And former Governor Cuomo, who resigned, he says he's going to stand up to President Trump just like he did during 2020. He says he's going to do it again, and he can't wait to get back in the driver's seat. And sadly, whoever gets...
Exactly. MAGA. Make America great again. Please, I am not voting for no Democrat, even in the primaries. I am not voting for a Democrat. Actually, I want to be an independent, but the thing I'm not voting for, because I can't probably do it in the whatever votes, but is an independent. I don't know what you mean by freedom over vanity, but I'm just going to say I'm just not voting for no Democrat. They can't talk nothing to me. I just don't want nothing to do with voting for any Democrat in office. Sorry, I'm done. After the Harris and Biden administration, I am just done with the Democrats. For real, for real. Okay, I got my wake-up call. I got my wake-up call, especially after all of this. I definitely don't want to vote for a Democrat. Sorry.
elected is going to have a mandate from the mob to stand up to the president, to resist ICE. And while they do it, their base is going to surround the wagons and tell them that they're on the right side of history. What do you think about that? Do these protesters have a legitimate grievance? Are these mayoral candidates right that people should stand up to the president of America that wants to enforce America's laws? Or is this sanctuary city just another place that is run by activists for activists? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
They let the people control them. I can't do that. Okay, well, anyway, y'all have a blessed and wonderful Sunday. Happy Father Days again to all of you out there that are veterans, all of you out there that are police officers, firemen, whatever you doing do what you got to do each day to put your life out there for the public, to the public, to keep the public safe, but safety and everything else. Happy Father's Day to you all and all the veterans.